richest owners in the NBA. Then there's Steve Ballmer, whose net worth is $123 billion. So how did Steve Ballmer go from Harvard student to owner of the Clippers? Steve Ballmer didn't come from billions of dollars, but he was actually valedictorian of his high school and then went to Harvard. But Steve Ballmer made a very important friend, and that is Bill Gates. When Steve Ballmer graduated from Harvard, he wasn't working at Microsoft. He actually took a job at Procter & Gamble. And while he was there, he made another friend who has a huge company.
You're selling cake mix? Duncan Hines brownie mix.
So you could say Steve Ballmer was destined for success because he just kept meeting people who ended up making successful companies. Steve Ballmer actually went back to school to go to Stanford, and he gets a call from who? Bill Gates. Bill Gates was trying to recruit him to come to the company that turned into the giant company we know today. But at the time, Microsoft was not the global brand that we know it is today. Funny enough, his dad said, "What is software?" And his mom said, "Why would anybody ever need a computer?" Think about it. People were saying back then, why does anybody ever need a computer? Does anybody you know not have a computer now? In 1980, Steve Ballmer was super crucial for their negotiations with IBM. And we all know the company IBM, so imagine that. But Steve Ballmer and Bill Gates didn't always get along.
I said to Bill, we need 18 more people. We're 30 people. No, I didn't get you to drop out of business school to bankrupt this company.
But it all worked out, right? Because Steve Ballmer was named CEO in 2000. And Steve Ballmer was a very good CEO because the revenue had tripled while he was there. He served as the CEO until 2014. And funny enough, his net worth has actually increased a lot more since he has left Microsoft. It says right here, his net worth has increased by nearly 600% in the decade since he stepped down from Microsoft, which again is a global company. Before I showed you the list of the richest owners in the NBA, this is the list of the richest owners in the entire world. Steve Ballmer is 9th on this list. You know the names on this list: Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. He is top 10 all time. He also has given away a ton of money. A lot of people probably don't know that when this article was posted, he had given away nearly $1 billion within the last 10 months of this article being posted. You can only imagine how much money he has donated, given away over the course of his lifetime. $1 billion in 10 months. That is just an insane amount of money. And to start off, his salary was $40,000 plus a 9% stake in the company, which obviously we know turned into a global brand, so that 9% stake turned into a lot of money. And then in 2014, he buys the Clippers for $2 billion, which the Clippers at the time were known as the franchise that doesn't really win a lot. By me saying a lot is a bit generous. They were known for really not winning at all. So funny enough, since Steve Ballmer's been there, the team has not had a losing season. That's actually kind of crazy to think about. When you have an owner like this, again, who is your biggest #1 fan, cheering you on the sidelines every single game, who also just built the state-of-the-art arena that has some of the coolest features we could ever think of. I still want to go visit. I still want to see it because I know that new arena has to be insane. I know I saw a video when they were building it that he talked about how they were going to have phone chargers in every seat. I don't know if they did that, obviously, but I assume they did. They also said that they had something, I think they put chips, microchips or whatever, into the seats, and so it can measure how loudly you're cheering or clapping, so it knows which fans are actually cheering really hard. And I don't know which features ended up being, put in the end, but I assume those things were put in because these conversations were talked about when the arena was already well underway. We all know they have that gigantic, can't even call it a scoreboard, the thing that wraps around the entire arena that shows the stats and everything. That thing is crazy. And if you ever wondered who sits next to him every game, because obviously he's looking like this 99% of the time, going crazy, apparently that is his longtime friend. So shout out to him. Steve Ballmer is a legend for so many reasons, and he has made the Clippers such a watchable team. Again, a franchise that, okay, still has not won a championship. We get that. But he has not spared any expense. Meaning he has paid top dollar to have the team, have the best players and the luxury tax. Obviously now with the new CBA it's different, but he was willing to pay whatever it took to win a championship. Even though Paul George is gone now, prior to the Paul George Kawhi era, which didn't work out the way they planned, There was the CP3, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan era, and while Blake Griffin, I believe, was drafted in 2009 or something like that, 2010 maybe, I think it was 2009. But the point is, like, obviously Steve Ballmer wasn't there for the start of Blake Griffin's career and stuff like that, but the time when they were, you know, near their prime, the CP3, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin trio, he was there. So shout out to Steve Ballmer, a legend on and off the court.